are not invited to the party.
Wait, what? Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Explained series. I'm very happy to be back. In today's episode, we will be covering the infamous Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. In this video, we will be covering in-depth episodes 1 through 4, and then in part 2, we will be covering in-depth episodes 5 through 7. Created by filmmakers Becky Sloan and Joseph Pelling, who have created other shorts like Jersey and Swim and Sleep Like a Shark, comes perhaps their most successful piece of work, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And in the description down below, I will have linked a full playlist of every single episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, so feel free to check out that entire playlist because the videos are extremely creepy. That's why I decided to explain the series, because honestly, these videos have haunted me since I was like 14. But yeah, needless to say, these videos are extremely creepy. So if you're into this kind of content, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, I definitely recommend watching the entire series, then coming back to this video and we can explain it together. Also, we hit 8,000. That's so crazy. But yeah, huge shout out to you guys. I can't believe we're already at 8,000 subscribers. That's like super crazy to me. And if you're not subscribed, ew, you're not subscribed? Come on. You gotta do something about that. It's just not right. But yes, with that all being said, grab a delicious snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. My name is Waman212. Don't forget to subscribe. The first episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared does not disappoint and sets the tone for the entire series. In the video, we can see that the date is June 19th, and here we have our three main characters of the series: Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and the Duck. However, for the sake of this video, we will be calling the Red Guy Jeremy, and we will be calling the Yellow Guy Danny, because of the D on his overalls. The video begins and the three are prompted by a talking notebook to be creative.
Mine is being creative.
How do you get that idea?
I just tried to think creatively.
The Duck and Danny seem to be into the idea of being created, but Jeremy is very pessimistic about the whole thing, saying expressing yourself with your hair sounds really boring.
That sounds really boring.
I use my hair to express myself.
Then the notebook goes on to destroy Danny's painting of a clown, saying he needs to slow down.
A picture of a clown.
Whoa there, friend, you might need to slow down.
Then shutting down Danny once again when he tells him that green is not a creative color.
Green is not a creative color.
The notebook tasks the three to be creative in such mundane ways. The notebook's goal is to create an illusion of creativity, an illusion of choice. Then things shift, and we see the three are on a TV set. Things start to get progressively more and more disturbing as Jeremy decorates a heart and the Duck cuts open a cake made out of meat, or perhaps flesh. The three begin to dance. Jeremy shakes his head in distress, and Danny is having what looks like a mild seizure. A piece of meat is then sucked in by the hole in the floor, and the Duck writes, "Death." Then the three are snapped back to reality as if nothing happened.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
At the beginning of the video, the notebook does encourage creativity to a certain limit, but deliberately draws the line on things like paintings, the color green, which is essentially discouraging Danny's creative side. It is also worth noting that Danny is always the one putting the most into trying to be creative. He tries to make a figurine with sparkles while Jeremy just pours sprinkles on the table. The point of this creativity segment, orchestrated by the directors running the show, was not to encourage creativity, but to suppress it. An attempt to traumatize our characters into never wanting to be creative again. However, as a more interpretive point of view, this entire video could be a nod at the education system, suppressing true creativity, and instead implements a more mundane mindset to make people easier to control. This is why in the video the more childlike character Danny is so easily influenced by the Notebook, whereas Jeremy, being an adult, finds being creative boring.
That sounds pretty boring.
Jeremy has already been influenced as a child to not be creative. That's why he finds it boring and hardly tries at the creative exercise. Our next video is titled Time. Jeremy, Danny, and the duck are sitting around the TV waiting for their show to start. The calendar still reads June 19th, and the time at which the video starts is roughly 3:43 p.m. Their show is starting in 5 minutes.
We only have 5 minutes until our show's on.
But a clock chimes in and says that there's always time for a song.
There's always time for a song.
Then Jeremy breaks the fourth wall and asks, presumably the camera crew.
What? Who is that?
The clock breaks into song and he says that the past is far behind us, and specifically points at Jeremy in the photograph,
Past is far behind us.
almost as if targeting him, as if saying Jeremy is a thing of the past. The camera pans and we can see Danny's ruined painting of a clown from the last video.
The future doesn't exist.
Keep this quote in mind.
Oh. What's the time? It's 9:15.
It's now 8:45. Before it was 3:43 p.m., now it's 8:45 p.m. The clock is shifting time. A little later, Jeremy says that they don't want this, and that they just want to watch their show. But when Jeremy says that they want to go home, the clock gets aggressive.
But we don't really want to. We're going to miss our show.
Don't be stupid, friends. Come on, it's time to...
The three travel to Victorian times and we can see a wanted poster of Danny from 1906. And based on this wanted poster and the things we've already witnessed, the teachers are somehow able to bend reality in order to get their message across. A reoccurring theme of striking fear to get the three to learn what they're teaching. Then, for the first time in the series, we get a look at Danny's father.
I'm friends with my dad.
Danny says he's friends with his dad, and his dad appears but doesn't say a word. The video continues and we see Danny's father once again on the computer. Danny says his dad is a computer, but the clock interrupts him and tells him to look at the time.
Addresses. My dad is a computer. Look at the time.
And by now we've come to realize that Danny has some sort of a mental disability based on how easily he's manipulated and the way he speaks. However, I don't think Danny is fumbling his words when he says his dad is a computer, so we should keep that in mind as we progress. It's now 7:45 p.m. and Danny says it's 20 past days. Days are seemingly passing, but the date still reads June 19th. The clock says that time keeps things in line, but when the three begin to ask questions about time, the clock has no answers.
Now you can see the importance of time. It helps us make pizza. It keeps things in line. But when did it start? And when will it stop? Time is important, and I am a clock.
If we run out of time, then where does it go?
Is time even real? Does anyone know?
So, the duck answers and talks about how time is just a construct of human perception, contradicting what the clock says. Also, a weird thing to note is that in the duck's explanation, there's, for some reason, this. I'm going to choose not to look into this. However, after the duck's explanation, the clock is extremely angered by this, and begins to beep aggressively. Days are passing faster and faster, a punishment because the three would not listen to the clock's teachings. Time is passing so much that the three begin to decay as time consumes them. The clock isn't trying to teach anymore. He's angry. Then, it turns out that this was the show the three were waiting for at the beginning of the episode. When the video began, hung up on the wall was a picture of the three together. However, what is hung up now is a picture that says nothing. Our three characters are in the future now. As the clock said,
The future doesn't exist.
so that means they are in a place that does not exist. Then, in the credits of the video, we can see that Danny's father's name is Roy, corresponding to the R on his overalls. And if we go into the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared website, we can see that his last name is Gribblestone. Danny and Roy Gribblestone. The next two videos we are going to be taking a look at are called Help and Help Number 2. In the video, Jeremy is being held hostage by an organization with this symbol. They wear brands on their wrist, similar to how Nazis wore them in World War II. A bear holds a hammer to Jeremy's head as he reads off a script.
If you're watching this, then we need your help.
The date reads June 19th, 1955, and we can tell that they're in Britain based off of the Euro symbol in the background. The organization has captured the duck, Danny, and Jeremy, and we can also see a page ripped from the notebook. In Help Number 2, the bear is on the phone with presumably the person in charge of this entire operation. But who is in charge is the question. Is it someone we've seen? We lack sufficient evidence at this time. However, what does interest me is this clip from Danny. He says, I don't like it. Based on the jug of gasoline, Danny is most likely being tortured by waterboarding him with gasoline, similar to how Trevor torches this guy in GTA 5. Then an image flashes. Is this the end? Help with forms of currency following it. This one being the US dollar, this one being the euro. And I'm not too sure which one this is, if you guys could help me out. Now, both of these help videos were just Kickstarter videos to help fund the show. Nevertheless, we will be considering these videos canon. In Don't Hug Me I'm Scared 3, we can see that the three have been missing since June 19th. In the episode, Danny runs away from the group because the duck kills a butterfly he was admiring. He climbs a tree and meets a butterfly who proceeds to serenade him about love.
Maybe I could hold your hand, and together we could understand about love.
The butterfly takes him into the sky, into another fantasy world. However, once Danny meets the group the butterfly takes him to, the butterfly starts to tell Danny contradictory ideas of love, first telling him that he should love everyone, but then getting mad at him, saying he has to save his love for his special one.
So here we are with all my friends, and they love you, all of them. Yes, we do.
I love this tree, and I love this stick, and I love this
No,
mountain.
that's not how it's done. You must save your love for your special one.
And then finally saying that he should devote all of his love to Malcolm, the king of love. It's obvious now that Danny has stumbled upon a cult and is being forced to marry Michael. Danny flashes back into reality and his friends find him. Now, as for a more interpretive approach to this video, it's evident that the episode is devoted to extremisms of religion and cults. You can compare the group Michael meets to a church group with everyone saying they love each other, but hardly even knowing each other. Finally, they all worship a god. In this case, it's Malcolm. Now, I don't really believe that this episode intentionally serves to denounce religion, but rather to shine a light on the oftentimes negative extremisms of organized religion, such as having to devote your complete self to the religion and its members, saying things like you should wipe your brain in favor of the religion, and to change your name to your church name. In this case, Danny's was Shrigus. And from the episode, it sends the message that changing your name is stripping you of who you are. This episode truly displays that. However, in terms of the overarching lore, we do get a tidbit of information. We learn that the three have been missing since June 19th, and the day still hasn't changed. We can also see Roy, Danny's father, in the background of the cult gathering. We can also see the notepad from episode 1 in the back, and this one looks a lot more like the paper we saw in the tape called Help. The date is still June 19th. The three are playing a card game called Question Fun, another example of mundane entertainment. In the back there's a picture of Danny and his father, and then on the milk carton it still says the three are missing. The three asked for help and look at the globe, expecting the globe to be this episode's teacher. And by the globe we see a sticky note that reads Roy, with the phone number under it. The number is extremely hard to read, and from what I can make out, the number is. However, upon calling the number, nothing happened. Either I got the number wrong or this is just another dead lead. The teacher of this episode is a computer, however ignores the question Danny had about what the biggest thing in the world is.
Oh, maybe you could help us answer this question. What is the biggest thing?
Very clever guy.
Also, a funny little detail is that the duck has PTSD when the computer mentions time.
Then I tell you the time.
We also get a look at a newspaper that makes it look like an asteroid crashed on Earth. And solely based on this newspaper, it could mean that the entire series takes place inside a simulation, which is very likely based on this news clipping, meaning the world ended, and this simulation is what's left. However, this theory could be a bit of a stretch, but it also could explain why the teachers have an ability to shift reality. But until we get further evidence, I do want to put a pin in this. But it is very odd that when the computer hovers over the news clipping, it's just an ad for oats. Perhaps he is attempting to stop the three from learning the truth. The computer then goes on to try and mine information from the three, asking everything about them, and when Jeremy tells it to stop, the computer lashes out, and then the three are painfully digitalized inside the computer.
Be
Do you
quiet.
have brown hair? What is your blood type? Are you allergic
Shut
to
up.
Don't touch me!
The computer tries to manipulate the three into staying, but Jeremy is growing tired of this cycle, where things are truly out of his control. The video continues to grow more and more disturbing, until Jeremy finally snaps and leaves the room he's not supposed to. The duck and Danny stay behind in a digital nightmare. Jeremy breaks free into our human world, where he sees realistic versions of not only himself, but of the duck and Danny. His mind is unable to comprehend this reality, and his head explodes. So as for a more interpretive perspective of this episode, it's definitely referring to the control the internet has over us, warping us into false realities where we can spend hours trapped inside of it, while our information is being mined right in front of us. Based on what we search, what we watch, everything we do on the internet defines who we are. However, in terms of the lore, we can also see the painting Danny made in the first episode, but this time unruined. So branching off my last theory, this entire series could be taking place inside a simulation. And here we have proof for it. There are various simulations going on, as we can see with multiple versions of themselves here. There are different episodes going on simultaneously. We also do have proof of different simulations taking place in this clip from episode 2, where they all die as a result of decaying from time passing, meaning there are other versions of the three who are completely fine. This version of Jeremy is somehow able to break free from the simulation, but he explodes, either because he couldn't handle true reality, or because he saw something he wasn't supposed to. This is also proof of different simulations taking place simultaneously, because Jeremy walks in on an episode we've never seen before, featuring the Oats as the teacher. We could even go as far to say that the simulation is taking place where the three have been captured. This entire series could take place where they are being held hostage, but we still have questions that need answers. Who kidnapped them? What will happen to Jeremy? And who is controlling the simulation?